Good morning, everyone, and good evening to you and to everyone in India. My name is Evelyn Rosengren-Hovey with Gen Next Education and the International Knowledge Center. We work with students all over India and also Indian students in the Middle East, and offer them free guidance on where to go. We are excited to have one of our partner institutions joining us today to talk to you specifically about engineering programs. So I'm excited to have Ashley Given from the International Admissions Office with us, and then Ryan Sigler from the Engineering School. So welcome, Ashley and Ryan. I'll go ahead and turn it over to you guys and let you take it from here.
All right, good morning, and thank you, Evelyn, excuse me, for the introduction, and hello to everyone in India. Hope you're having a good evening, and thank you for taking part of your weekends to get to know us a little better. So, as Evelyn mentioned, I'm the international recruiter here. I'm actually coming to India next Saturday, which I'm very excited about, so hopefully this will be a good preview for you, for those of you that might be able to join us later. But I'm just going to go over some general things about WVU, and then we'll go into depth a little bit more about the engineering college, which Ryan can help us towards the end to get a greater understanding. But I'm just going to dive right in so I can show you more about our school. So West Virginia's slogan is actually called Wild and Wonderful. We are the mountain state, so that gives us a lot of opportunities for a lot of outdoor adventures, especially snow sports, skiing, excuse me, snowboarding, tubing. We actually had our first snow here last night of the season, and we are world famous for our whitewater rafting. You can see a picture there. We actually have a program here called Adventure WV, and it's award-winning. And if you come here to school for orientation, you come a few days early, and you can go on a trip that's a few nights long with your new classmates, your new roommates, and it's only about $95, which is very cheap. And not only do you get to take advantage of the great surroundings we have here, but you can actually earn credit for it. So it's a great way to get off campus and get to see this beautiful state and make some new friends. And of course, you can work with Adventure WV all year long. Excuse me, and you can go on lots of trips. And even here in Morgantown, it's a beautiful surrounding. There's hiking here within campus. We actually have an arboretum on campus, so it's just like a small forest you can go hiking in. So this is just a map to show you where we are in the U.S. We are in the eastern part of the U.S. We have students from all 50 states. And we also have other schools here in West Virginia. So we're located in Morgantown, which you can see there in the center. We're just a few miles from the Pennsylvania line. And we have two other schools as part of our campus. But we say we're one WVU. In Kaiser there to the east, we have Potomac State College, which is similar to a community college. And then down in the south, we have Beckley, which is the WVU Institute of Technology. You can get 4-year degrees there. So these are some other options for students who are maybe looking for a smaller campus. It's also a bit more affordable than WVU just because it's a different experience. So if you were thinking about maybe going to a smaller school to start out, to just kind of get your feet wet with American culture and getting used to the classroom, these are some good options that we'd be happy to help you to explore and connect you to those campuses. And yeah, those are some things you can kind of look into. Now, also about these schools, if you start out there and you decide you want to come to Morgantown, which is the main campus or what we call the flagship, you can easily transfer all your credits from those schools. It's not even a transfer, it's just a change of campus, and it's a very easy form to fill out. So speaking of Morgantown, it's a really great location. As you saw there on the map, we're located in the eastern part of the U.S. We're only an hour-and-a-half drive to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and that's where you would most likely fly into. We're just a handful of hours from Washington, D.C., 6 hours to New York, and we are in a very good radius of a huge chunk of the population of the U.S. and of Canada. So it's a great opportunity to get out and explore the U.S. Also, great connection to different employers here in the U.S. You might have heard that Amazon just opened their headquarters or outside Washington, D.C., so that's something to consider down the line for employment. One really cool thing about, well, there's lots of cool things about WVU, but something that's very unique about West Virginia University is that we have our very own transportation system, and there's nothing else like it in the U.S. or in the world. There's no other campus in the U.S. that has this. It's called the PRT, Personal Rapid Transport. You can see a picture of it there. It's almost like a light rail system that goes between our 3 campuses here in Morgantown, and it's free for students to use. You just go to a station, you swipe your ID, and you get in this little car with about 15 other students, and it will take you between campuses easily. You don't have to worry about having a car. It's also just kind of cute and very fun to ride around in. I actually rode in it for the first time about 2 or 3 weeks ago, going to a ball game, and it can go as fast as a car. It doesn't go really fast, but it's just kind of a fun way to get between campuses. One thing we really love to talk about here in West Virginia is sports. We are a Division I school. We have 17 varsity teams, and students can go to pretty much any event for free. With basketball, as you can see there on the right, which is extremely popular here in West Virginia, you might have to do a reservation ahead of time, but you can go into pretty much any of these sporting events for free. Our football stadium there on the left actually holds 60,000 people, and at the end of every winning home football game, we sing the song Country Roads, which is very famous, and I got to experience that this past weekend. It's pretty special. WVU has over 350 majors. You can see some of our most popular majors over there. Engineering, of course, is a very popular program. We also have a lot of great business programs. We have forensic science. We have one of the best forensic science programs in the U.S. We're actually the only one in the U.S. that offers a bachelor, master's, and PhD. We have the country's largest crime scene lab complex, and it's so advanced that if the FBI in Washington, D.C. had some sort of emergency and they could not use their facilities, they could actually come to Morgantown and use ours. So that's something we're very proud of. WVU has made a lot of headlines. Speaking of sports, we've actually had several Olympians come from our campus. If you see there in the middle, the young lady wearing the blue, that's Jenny Thrasher. She's actually an engineering major here. She is set to become a Rhodes Scholar. She actually won the very first medal of the Rio Olympics in 2016, and she was on the rifle team. We actually have one of the top rifle teams here in the U.S., but so that just goes to show that WVU, it's limitless what you want to do. If you want to try to be in the Olympics, we'll help you support your dreams and become an engineer. Also, we have a really good robotics team. If you're interested in robotics, WVU competed in a national competition. I think it was in 2016. It was actually sponsored by NASA. It was the Return Robot Competition. We actually beat out Oregon State and MIT, which is something we like to brag about a little bit. And they actually brought back $750,000 in scholarship funds to help students who are interested in studying robotics for the future. So going along with that, with the robotics, WVU is an R1 research institution. It's the highest designation you can get. Out of 4,500 institutions in the U.S., there's only 115 that have that, and WVU has that. So that means that if you are interested in conducting research, whether it's in a STEM field or a non-STEM field, there are plenty of opportunities for you to do that. It's a great way for you to prepare for graduate school. It looks good on your resume. And aside from that, a lot of the research that's done here at WVU is life-changing and has an impact in the real world. We do have 14 schools and colleges here on the Morgantown campus. So earlier from the slide with about the 350 majors, there are plenty of things for you to explore. We do have a place called CLASS, which is the Center for Learning and Student Services. And with that, if you are undecided, we have advisors who are skilled in helping you get on the right track to choosing your path. A lot of our students here have had internships with very illustrious companies and organizations. Some of these you might have heard of: Amazon and Google, Facebook. There's a lot of great employers that come here to campus. We actually have over 300 employers that have come to campus by the end of September. We have many different career fairs with all the different schools. So there's a lot of employers that are seeking WVU grads because we have such a good reputation in the US. Across the board, with our 3 different campuses, we have over 31,000 students. Here in Morgantown, we actually have about 28,000 students. And that's doubles the size of Morgantown during August to May, because there's only about 30,000 residents that live in Morgantown. So it gets to be a lively and very exciting place here in August. So we really enjoy it when students come back to campus. We do have kind of a smaller class size. So if you're worried about coming to the US and getting, lost in the shuffle, there's no need to worry about that. Over 60% of our classes have 40 students or less. So that means that you'll develop good relationships with your professors and get some one-on-one help. So it's a great way to also get to know your classmates better. So these are just some fun facts about WVU. We have students from over 110 countries. We have a parents club if your parents are interested in learning more and staying connected to WVU about what's going on here. We actually have about 120 Indian students here right now. Of course, we're hoping to grow that. So we actually have some student clubs that I'll talk about later that Indian students can join. So Morgantown, like I said, it's a smaller town, but we're a classic college town because the school is so big. It is absolutely beautiful here. It's one of my favorite things. We're right next to a river. There's lots of hills to go hiking around. We have great restaurants here. It's small, so it's relatively easy to get around. We have a great healthcare system because we have a medical school here. We also have pharmacy, dental, nursing schools. People come here from all over the state and tri-state region to get healthcare here because sometimes it's just not available where they are, but we have a good trauma center and just lots of good treatment centers here as well. As I said earlier, we have over 400 student organizations, so just about anything you're interested in, from tax law to intramural sports, there's something for everyone because we want you to get involved outside of the classroom. It's very important to do well in the classroom, but we want you to have a life outside of there and make good connections. So we have several different clubs that have an international scope. We have an international student organization. We do have an Indian student association here on campus. We have some engineering organizations, as well as business and economics, if that's something you're interested in. And we do have a cricket club, which I found out a few weeks ago. So that's kind of fun. If that's something you like to do back home, you can certainly join that team here to get a little taste of home. For graduate programs, if that is something you're interested in down the line, we have over 20 top-ranked programs. Worldwide, we have over 190,000 alumni, which is something to really consider because if you're looking for opportunities outside of WVU and after you finish, you're looking for post-completion options, you're going to find mountaineers worldwide. You'll find them in India, you're going to find them in the Middle East, you'll find them in the US. So that's something to also consider when you're thinking about a university. Our graduates have been hired by all these different companies, which I'd mentioned about in the internships, but there's a lot of great opportunities out there for mountaineers after they graduate. Excuse me. So I'm sure a lot of you are curious about our admissions requirement. So we're looking for someone that has a 2.5 GPA. For English proficiency, you would have to show that you had at least a 61 on the TOEFL or a 6.0 on the IELTS. We do not require SAT or ACT for general university admission. However, we do recommend it because that is the test that a lot of academic departments are using to grant scholarships. So we do recommend that you take that so you can take advantage of all the different scholarships we have here.
Ashley, I'm sorry,
Yep.
can I interject at this point? Can you clarify whether that is true for the engineering program since that's the focus for today?
Yeah, I
Thank you.
do believe that you would need SAT or ACT scores for engineering scholarships. Is that correct, Ryan?
Yes, we will take those for scholarship requirements, and we do require them for the engineering part of admissions.
Okay, thank you. So those are just the general undergraduate admissions requirements there. We do offer scholarships for international students. We do base that on your GPA at the time of admission. You would need at least a 3.0 coming in. And I know that's a little bit different than the scores maybe you get in India, but we have people here in our international admissions team that can, equate what your Indian scores are to an American GPA. And there's no separate requirement for this merit scholarship. It's automatically awarded. You could get between $5,000 to $7,000 a year. As long as you maintained a certain GPA every year, you would get that automatically awarded. And in addition to that, there's some academic department scholarships that are also available. For applications, we're no longer accepting them for spring 2019 just because it's around the corner. For fall 2019, you have to apply by June 1st, and then we would need all of your documents by July 1st. So we can take unofficial documents, which means we can take copies of transcripts, certificates, things like that. But before you actually enroll in classes, once you come here to WVU, we would need a physical copy of your official documents. And then if you're interested in 2020, we have our other deadlines up there as well. So the focus of this is going to be, about engineering. So I'm just going to go over some of the general parts, and then I'm going to hand it over to Ryan here in a little bit. We have over 12 undergraduate degrees in engineering. We have a great reputation for our engineering school. We also have a lot of masters and doctorals, and you can see some of those here. And cybersecurity is not on this list. I apologize about that, but Ryan will talk about that here in a few minutes. But a lot of people are interested in, electrical, mechanical, civil. We're one of the few schools in the U.S. that has petroleum and natural gas engineering. That's something that we're very proud of. We're one of only 6 in the U.S. that are ABET accredited. That's the accrediting body, which is really important, getting your education that you get it from an accredited institution. And here's some of our engineering scholarships. Again, we would need ACT or SAT, and this could be in addition to getting those merit scholarships just for international students, which are available for any major, but these would be specific to the engineering school. A few fun facts about our College of Engineering. We have a very high career placement rate, very good average starting salary. Here's some of our SAT and ACT scores, just so you can kind of get a general idea of what you would need to expect to work for, what you would need to achieve to try to get some of those, to get not only admission, but to get scholarships. I'm going to hand it over to Ryan at this point to talk about our computer science program.
All right, thanks, Ashley. So some of the things we have to offer outside of all the engineering programs we have 3 basic computer science programs at WVU. You have your general computer science. That's a great way to get involved and get to cover a lot of broad spectrum of classes. Computer science students do anything from algorithms to databases to video gaming. And then we move on to something called biometric systems. Biometric systems is actually a nice combination between computer science and computer engineering with the hardware systems. Biometric systems, we look at identification technologies. So think of things like iris scanning and fingerprint identification. The way you talk, the way you walk is unique to you, and those are the ways that we look to include those in some of our identification technologies. And the last one on there is cybersecurity, and that's a new program for us when it comes to a bachelor's degree, but it's always a focus that we've had. We're going to focus a lot in cyber defense and work through some of the classes that would help you understand how cybersecurity works, and then you could work in a lot of different industries that way.
All right.
So cybersecurity, we're going to focus, a lot of this is going to be on the protection side. So we want to make sure that when you're developing software, when you're working with creating a place where you house data, you know, that we're having a large security focus about that. There's also a human element when it comes to cybersecurity. So a lot of times when you think about cybersecurity, people think about, you know, hacking and things of that nature, but there's also a human component. So being able to call in and talk to someone is a way that people can actually hack into your servers. There's also ways where there's physical protection of your servers. So we're going to talk about ways that you want to protect your computers, your servers, anywhere from the actual computer to the power systems that are powering everything. So we're going to talk a lot about and cover a lot of those topics in cybersecurity. We talk about a lot about host-based cyber defenses, cryptography, and a lot of this comes down to ethics. So trying to figure out why you would want to do what you're doing and what's the right way to go about it. And we're, like I said, all this comes down to cybercrime, and that's what we're here to prevent.
Okay.
So jobs in cybersecurity, one of the nice things about WVU is we are a center of excellence in cybersecurity for the Department of Defense. So a lot of what we do is going to be working not only with government industries, but also with private industries as well. Think about banks, and even Google has a large supply of cybersecurity analysts because they want to make sure that your data is protected. Same with any kind of online retailer. So here's just some of the few jobs that you can get in that field. It is a very fast and growing field. So make sure, you know, make sure when you're thinking about majors that computer science is a good idea, but cybersecurity gives you that very sort of granular feel in what you can do to protect people.
Oh, was that it, Ryan? Sorry.
No, that should cover everything. We do cover in cybersecurity. We do a lot with artificial intelligence, both through computer science and cybersecurity. When it comes to ways to automatically work through what's going on, so you don't always have to have someone there coding the entire time. So we'll do a lot with some modular design as well.
All right, thank you, Ryan. So just to kind of wrap up here, we had some big news here at WVU last week. One of our graduates, his name is John Chambers. So he graduated twice, I believe, from WVU with his law degree, and I also believe with his master's degree. He was the CEO of Cisco for several years, and he recently made a large gift to the university, not only donation, but he's also going to donate some of his time later. They actually renamed our College of Business and Economics after him, but there's a connection between him and India. So he's the chairman of the U.S.-India Strategic Partnership Forum, which I got really excited about and wanted to share that with our students. We're very proud of that. So as part of that, in 2016, he actually traveled to India, and he advised the Prime Minister there on improving technology in India and working with some projects with him there. And there's actually a picture of him with the Prime Minister, which I thought was really cool. And during his time as the Cisco CEO, Cisco invested $100 million into India for improving broadband connections and trying to get more homes to have internet in India. So that's a really good connection to India that WVU is very proud of. And as I said, WVU is coming to India. I will be there I'm actually leaving next Saturday. So we're having a few different events in a few cities that are open to the public. The first one is in Mumbai. That will be in less than 2 weeks. It's going to be on the 27th. You can see some of the details there, and Evelyn and I would be happy to share more of those details, addresses, things like that if you need it. We'll also be in Ahmedabad on December 4th. That will be with Education USA. We're going to have a workshop there. And then towards the end of our trip, we're going to be in Bangalore on Saturday, December 8th at the International Knowledge Center. So I'll be there. You can come, you can bring your family, friends, and I'll be happy to tell you all about WVU and give you some brochures if you would like them. And we are on social media if you want to see what's going on here on campus and get a better picture of what students are doing. It's a great way to learn more. And I am always here to answer your questions. Email is the best way to reach me. I think my mobile number has changed since then. Actually, that's a new one. Yeah. But my office number is there too if you ever want to make a phone call. But I'd be more than happy to talk to you, and hopefully I will meet you in India soon. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ashley and Ryan, for all of those details, that information. Of course, it is a lot to absorb, but you guys organized it very well. And then, of course, as you have questions, I typed Ashley's email address into the chat forum. If you have questions, we do have a couple minutes left. If you want to direct those questions to our panelists now, or you can save them for later and send it to them privately by email. But thank you everyone so much for joining us, and now we'll take some questions.